It is great seeing you here again. My name is Luc de Koster, founder of the Koster Academy, and in this video I will talk more about risk management. But before we continue, don't forget to click on the subscribe button, click on the bell button, and every time we have a new video, YouTube will inform you about it. Let's have a look at the risk management process steps. We always start with risk planning. When we look at the different processes, risk planning is always the first step. So in this case, for risk management, it was the first process to include risk planning. Later on, all the other processes in the PMBOK, they followed. After risk planning, we go to risk identification. We want to find out what are the risks that can happen on our project. Risk qualification is ordering these risks in order of importance and identifying the risks that we will have to continue working on because they have a rather large impact on the project. And we look at impact and probability. We do that in the probability and impact matrix. Once we identified the risks that we have to quantify, we start with risk quantification and we're looking at the cost of the risk. What are those risks bringing or creating as costs to our project? The next thing is plan the risk responses. We're going to plan the risk responses. We're still in the planning process step. We plan the risk responses and during execution, we implement the risk responses. And finally, we control the risks. This is in the monitor and control process step. And we continue the circle again. It's an ongoing process from the start till the end of the project. Now, when we look at the risk management process a little bit more in detail, combined with the process steps, we see in initiation there is nothing, but we start first with plan risk management, then identification of risks, qualify risks, quantify risks, plan risk responses, and then we go to the execution process step. Here we implement the risk responses, and finally in monitor and control, we control the risks, and there is nothing in closing step related to risk management. Now, when we look at plan risk management, what are we going to do here? Well, we look at the risk strategy. What is the general approach to risks on the specific project? What is the methodology? What are the approaches, the tools and data sources that will be used? Very important, the roles and responsibilities. Who is doing what on the project related to risk? Funding, we need funding for risk management and contingency and management reserves. We look at the timing. What is the timing that we have to redo the risk management process? Different risk categories exist and they can be found in what we call the risk breakdown structure. An important element in risk management is identifying the stakeholder risk appetite. And here we have to look at the risk thresholds that we have or that the stakeholders have. The risk thresholds are very important because they show us how the attitude of the stakeholders towards risk is. Definition of the risk probability and impact. We have a table linking the level or scale or to probability and impact on time, cost and quality. There are different reporting formats we have to define. How do we document, analyze communication, analyze and communicate the outcomes of the risk? How do we do that? Very important to share those reporting formats. And then we have to consider tracking. What are the documents that we use to track and record risk activities? We can use them for guidelines for auditing. When we look at tools for risk identification, we have expert judgment. Experts are very important. Data gathering, we have data that we want to know. There are different techniques that apply, but we think about brainstorming, checklists, and interviews. We look at data analysis like root cause analysis, assumption and constraint analysis, SWOT analysis, document analysis. We look at also interpersonal and team skills. Here we have to facilitate the participants so that they participate optimally. There are prompt lists. We have different risk categories that we can have. We have the PESEL, the take-up, or the VUCA methods that we can use. And meetings are very important to evaluate and to identify the risk. When we look at risk tools for risk qualification, we have again expert judgment, data gathering, data analysis. We have different elements when we look at the data, how we will evaluate them. A very important tool here is the risk probability and impact assessment with the PIM, the probability and impact matrix. We also have interpersonal and team skills. We look at risk categorization, data representation methods that we use, and different meetings that will be held during the project, during the risk parts of the project. We have some tools for risk quantification. We have expected value and expected monetary value calculations. We have tornado diagrams, decision tree analysis, PERT and 3-point estimation and probability estimations, Monte Carlo simulations. And of course, it's very important to understand what are the risk responses to threats. We have different risk responses. We can escalate. Escalate means it's not in our project. We cannot manage it. We have no effect on it. So we have to escalate these elements to the program or higher level. Avoidance, transfer, mitigate, and of course we also have accept. We will find escalate and accept also in the list of the risk responses for opportunities. So we have escalate and accept here. We can also for opportunities look at exploiting the risk, share them, and enhance them. This is just a summary overview because you've been going through these in the previous courses. It's just a review of the different elements. Now, when we look at overall project risk, we also have to look, we also have avoidance, exploiting, transfer or share, mitigate and enhance, and accept. So these are the responses to the overall project risk. We're not looking at the specific risk categories on their own, but here we look at the totality of the project. So that was it for the review, quick review on risk management. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button, click on the bell button, and every time we have a new video, YouTube will inform you about it. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next videos. Bye bye.